2015 lawsuit filed by protesters. They claim Trump security guards roughed them up during this protest outside of Trump Tower before he took office. A lawyer for the protesters say he is convinced Trump will show up.
We have every reason to believe that Mr. Trump will be there on Monday morning and submit to trial examination by video deposition as per the court's order. His counsel have been cooperative this week in terms of setting up the logistics for that. Obviously, it involves things like Secret Service clearance and getting videographers and court reporters in through security.
And joining me now, Tali Farhadian-Weinstein, MSNBC legal analyst. Tali, thanks for joining me on here. I mean, it looks like this deposition is a go. What do you think lawyers are going to ask Donald Trump?
Well, the question at the heart of this case is whether Donald Trump directed his security to assault the protesters who have brought this lawsuit. And, you know, it's interesting because it's a low-profile case from the presidential campaign, but it does represent the first time that Donald Trump is going to be asked a question like that under oath. And I think that a world of lawyers, prosecutors, investigators are going to be listening for that answer.
Okay. So when you say whether the president directed them to rough these people up, how could that be verbally expressed? Because we've heard Donald Trump saying himself in rallies over the years, he would like to knock somebody out or he's going to rough somebody up. Is that the kind of thing that could get him into trouble legally here, or would it have to be, I want you to beat them up? I mean, how is that going to work, the interpretation of what he said?
Well, the protesters who have sued him are going to want to use the kind of evidence that you've just described, Alex, where we can impute to him direction of his organization based on the stuff that he said. But what I think they would get into in the deposition is more trying to understand, well, how does he run his company? How regularly does he direct his security to do one thing or another? And those questions about how he runs his organization, what kind of manager he is, are really swirling around in a lot of the litigations and lawsuits that involve him.
We know that 6 of the protesters, Tali, in this lawsuit, they are of Mexican origin. Can Trump's rhetoric play a role in a civil case like this?
Absolutely it can, because it really goes to the issue of whether this was an intentional, a concerted effort to beat up these protesters driven by racial animus, or whether something happened that was unanticipated and out of control. And that's what they're going to be exploring in the course of this case.
So depending on what he says and how he says it, come tomorrow, is there any way he could get into bigger trouble than where it stands right now?
Yes, I think that if he does, in fact, testify under oath, give the deposition tomorrow, or the judge has said at the extremes he could have until the end of the month, then his next strategy, I anticipate, will be to try to keep whatever he said hidden, to keep it sealed and not disclosed. Because, as I said earlier, whatever he says there about how he directed his security could be really interesting to the people who want to know how else he runs his affairs. Alex, I was just thinking it would probably take us all afternoon to list all of the litigations and investigations that involve Donald Trump right now, ranging from January 6th to the defamation suits by E. Jean Carroll and some reservos. This is really the first time that he is going to have to speak under oath about who he is and how he runs his world. Can you give me a yes-no answer as to whether or not this could be precedent-setting? Yes. Okay. You did it. Thank you very much. Great to have you. We'll look forward to seeing you again. It was a horrific attack on a train and almost as